This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Here we go now.
With guest host Ben Lyons.
It's not just Giannis's league, it's Giannis's world.
It's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. But this is the hard way to do it.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles. Today's guests, documentary director Andrea Nix. From CBS 2 Los Angeles, Jamie Maggio. MLB Network host Adnan Virk. Plus, actor Matt Walsh. And now, sitting in for Rich, here's Ben Lyons.
Welcome, everyone, to another day here on the Rich Eisen Show. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich. Very happy that all of you are joining us here today. Very happy you weren't joining us for our production meeting a few moments ago. We're really getting ready for a big show here today. Lots going on the show. Lots going on, obviously, across the world of sports. Still a little hungover from the Bucks celebration the other night. The Bucks are having their parade. Has he stopped eating Chick-fil-A nuggets yet?
I hope not.
The Bucks are celebrating out in Milwaukee. Bobby Portis, early reports was the MVP of the celebrations. We'll see if that continues on. There he is on Peacock with the WWE belt. The champ, the people's champ.
My goal in life is to get one of those, Ben.
Referred to. I feel like you've been the Intercontinental champ, the 24-hour champ, the champ they put in the upper deck. What are the championship belts they have in the WWE? We'll find out from Adnan, who had a cup of coffee with the WWE later on in the show. But a big day for you, TJ, obviously, with Jerry Jones speaking out about his relationship with Jimmy Johnson. That's a big deal as camps get going.
Very eye-opening quotes yesterday.
Okay, we'll get into some of the Jerry sound. Brockman, you find any other St. Lunatics videos there on YouTube today?
I'll tell you what, we were having a great time going back through the early 2000s hip-hop music videos. It was awesome. What a great time, Mike, for music.
Yeah. Come on.
Well, and then that's the thing, because Del Tufo saw his "there's no great sports moments in the 80s" comment from the other day and raised it with "there's no great music after 2005.
2005, it died. The music died. It was like the old American Pie.
Music died. They took every guitar, just magically disappeared. All pianos got the Thanos treatment. Just whoop, they're gone.
Close the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after 05. That's it. Cleveland should just shut it down.
We're happy to have Del Tufo back in studio with us.
Hey, Mike, good to have you back.
Good to have Mike back. But I want to start today with a little story time, because I'm thinking about what's happening in the NFL, and it had me think about something that happened with me and some great NBA players. I had the privilege of getting to work at Turner Sports down in Atlanta for a little bit, home of TNT, NBA TV. And the way it works down there is you stay at a hotel about 10 minutes or so from the studio, and they take you in a car, nice big car service over to the studio. So I'm in basketball heaven. I'm in a big Sprinter van with Gary Payton and Quentin Richardson.
Wow. All right.
Shouts out to one half of the Knuckleheads. Download, rate, review, and subscribe. And we make a stop on the way to the studio. Gary Payton's a little confused. We pull into the valet at the Four Seasons, and out walks Channing Frye, who gets into the car. And Gary Payton, never one to be short with words, says,
Never.
"Channing Frye, why are you staying at the Four Seasons?"
I'm wondering the same
You're
thing.
Channing Frye. I'm Gary Payton.
The glove.
NBA champ, Olympian. And Channing Frye said, "Well, did you ask?" I said, "No, I didn't ask. I'm down here doing my work for Turner. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers or anything. You asked." He said, "Closed mouths don't get fed." That just stayed with me. Wise words from chosen family's own Channing Frye. That stayed with me now in my own life as I go about my day, my business. Closed mouths don't get fed. You don't ask for something. How are you ever supposed to receive it? So it got me thinking, my Channing Frye story that's been a part of my DNA now, what is Aaron Rodgers asking for? Closed mouths don't get fed. He hasn't spoken about what his issues are. We think it's because he was upset 2 years ago they drafted a quarterback, or we think that maybe he's not happy with some of the other moves on the roster, but you're half away from the Super Bowl. You're the MVP. You got tons of weapons up and down the field. What are you asking for right now in this moment? Not what happened a year ago, 2 years ago, but closed mouths don't get fed. Channing Frye, wise words that I think Aaron Rodgers could hear right now. And I don't know what he's asking for.
Does anybody?
So he's not going to get whatever it is he wants. You have to ask for it. Closed mouths don't get fed. So that's a big story, obviously, in the NFL right now. And as we head into NFL season with the NBA behind us, that's top of mind for everybody. What is it that Aaron Rodgers actually wants? Does he want them to go make a move? He doesn't want to change a head coach. Does he want more help on the defensive side of things? Did he want J.J. Watt? No, none of this stuff. We're just assuming, but what is it that he actually wants?
It's a great question, man.
I don't know.
And I think we'll never really know. He's not a guy that's just going to come out and I think be forthright with this information. We've been hearing a lot of things through people who are supposedly close to him, like A.J. Hawk and James Jones. But can we take them at 100% face value? No. But some of it, maybe.
So Aaron, unclear about what he wants. He's not speaking out saying, I need this from the organization. He's not drawing a line on the sand. And then on the other side of things, Jerry Jones, very clear with what he wants. Very clear with what he'll do to get what he wants. Jerry Jones, never someone who suffered from closed mouths don't get fed Channing Frye syndrome. So this is what Jerry Jones had to say as Cowboy camp kicked off. Here's Jerry Jones.
You've joked in the past that you've made these deals with the devil to win these Super Bowls. When things just kept working against you guys last year, did you feel like he was cashing in?
Well, I found that he's not quite as responsive to one's individual asks as you might think. And I'm not trying to be sacrilegious here, but the facts are that I would right now, if I could, and I had a good chance to do it, I'd do anything known to man to get in a Super Bowl. That's a fact. And there's nothing in my mind that can have a higher priority than that.
Yikes. Yikes. Anything known to man. My goodness. What is that? Oof. He knows what he wants, though. He wants a Super Bowl in Dallas. I know TJ wants a Super Bowl in Dallas. I don't know if he's going to get it, but I know that's what he wants.
I'm down for him to do anything known to man to get it.
Anything known to man.
Anything. And
anything.
There's a lot of area to cover when you say anything.
And you think about like the history of mankind and all of the things that have happened on planet Earth.
Like just the stuff that's going through my head right now. And I'm not that devious. I'm a little devious. I'm just thinking what I'm thinking. And then I know what Del Tufo's probably thinking. And who knows what Brockman's going through his
This takes
mind.
a nice chunk out of the pie.
Just think about it. What would TJ do for a Super Bowl? Think about it.
Look, man, I know what I would do for a Klondike bar. So for a Super Bowl, man,
And then Jerry also finally admitting that he was in the wrong with Jimmy Johnson. That's a big moment for the Cowboys fans, for Cowboy Nation, a healing moment, a moment perhaps that leads to Jimmy being recognized by the franchise for his great contributions to those Super Bowl teams. So interesting State of the Union for Jerry Jones as we kick off the NFL season. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. But he knows what he wants. He goes out there and says it. He might not get it, but at least he knows what he wants, so he has a chance to get it. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what he wants. I don't know what the problem is right now. I don't know if he's going to be there next week. Closed mouths don't get fed. But TJ, as a lifelong Cowboys fan, to have Jerry get up there and have a little humble pie and admit that he was in the wrong with Jimmy Johnson all those years ago, that's a huge moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first time that I can remember him ever really addressing it, especially the way he did yesterday in the clips, the language that he used. Like Barry Switzer basically like, no, get Jimmy in here. I need to put both of you on this chair, kind of smack you upside your head and go, how'd you mess this up? And not in those words. But yeah, as Cowboys fans, and I've always said this, and if Jimmy doesn't leave, I don't see any reason why Dallas doesn't win 4 Super Bowls in a row. And who knows what happens after that.
We hear about it from players all the time. Chris Paul right now is processing that might be the closest he ever gets to a championship. We hear it from players that they regret leaving something out on the field, or that's their biggest fear in life. But when you're somebody like Jerry Jones with power, wealth, pride, ego, and you get a taste of it, and then you just sacrifice everything and you go for it again. It's like Sisyphus in Hades pushing the boulder up the mountain only to be condemned to a life of pain and suffering. You could feel the pain in his voice. He's willing to do anything known to man.
Anything. Not almost anything, guys.
Anything. There's something, I said to me, there's something kind of sad and almost like romantic about seeing a man look at his life in the rearview mirror, a man of means and power and success, to sort of put their life into perspective as they continue to make their way down the field of their journey. Really emotional stuff there from Jerry Jones
Kind of
to kick off the season.
Acknowledge his mistakes too, and look back with regret. Jerry Jones doesn't strike me as a guy who has a lot of regret in his life.
I went to that steakhouse and I ordered a salmon. That was a bad decision. I should have ordered steak.
I don't think
he's going through that on the drive home.
Also, I would be willing to bet Jerry Jones has never had salmon. As a guy from Arkansas and Texas, just saying. But yeah.
What's the fish of the day?
So to hear him kind of say that, it's like definitely eye-opening, you know? And it should be what everyone's talking about today. It's kind of nuts.
No, life perspective stuff and shows you too, just it's almost like a cruel twist of fate to be able to have that amount of success, at that stage in your life and your journey, and then spend the next, how long has it been, TJ, since you guys were in the Super Bowl? Remind me.
1995.
Yeah, so spend the next 20 some odd years chasing that, not getting there, not even sniffing it, not even getting close to it.
Ben, the funny thing about that is we were speaking pre-show about this, and that is everyone who doesn't like Dallas, that's their thing that they lean on. Well, last 25 years, so we're going to get specific, right? We're going to go 25 years, how many years it's been since they've won. No one takes into consideration the fact that this team, Jerry Jones, does have 3 Super Bowls, right? And how many team owners have multiple Super Bowls? What is it, 6?
Yeah, but what did Giannis say about thinking about the past? That's your ego. Thinking about the future, that's your pride. Thinking the moment, that's your humility.
His overall,
that was Jerry in the moment.
Yeah, that is him in the moment. You're right.
And there was a rare sign of humility, which is why he's admitting his faults with Jimmy Johnson and admitting, he has regrets and things he looks back on. So in the moment, that's that humility. Boy, Giannis is just a wizard, huh?
So wise beyond. Well,
so wise.
Most philosophers are Greek, right?
He's a great Greek philosopher, yeah.
Plato, Socrates, Johnny A.
Your past is your ego. Your future is your pride. Your presence is your humility.
Man.
Wise stuff. He's partying right now on a bus somewhere. We're like, wow, this is such a Greek philosopher, this oracle of wisdom. I'm sure he's doing a 1-2 step, like double fisting like Stone Cold right now.
With his shirt off, just wilding out right now.
We'll check in on the Bucks parade a little bit later on
Hello,
in the
Larry.
show. And then Tom Brady sat down with Jim Gray, and Tom Brady, who's had just such a tremendous offseason.
It's Tom Brady's world, man.
He's cracking jokes with the president. He's out there playing golf with Phil.
Loving life.
Oh yeah, by the way, my MCL was ruptured, and I went out there and won a Super Bowl, and I'm Del Tufo's age. It was incredible.
Don't worry about it.
And here he is now, sitting down with Jim Gray, having an interesting conversation about some of the people in sports who have been asked to make some decisions evaluating talent over the years. Here's TV12.
In the end, there's no better place for me to go than where I actually went, was the Bucks.
But you've caused a lot of intrigue with this, and everybody's guessing. Do you care to expose who it was you were talking about?
No, because there's private things for me that are going to remain, motivational for me. So they know who they are. I mean, that the teams.
You think they know?
Yeah, the teams know who were probably interested, and yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, everyone's got a choice to choose. I think what you realize is that there's not as many smart people as you think. It's just the reality. I think it'd be a no-brainer if you said, hey, you got a chance to get Wayne Gretzky on your team, or you get a chance to have Michael Jordan on your team. Oh, we don't need him. No thanks. We're good. In my mind, I'm kind of thinking, okay, well, let me go show those teams what they're missing. And at the same time, let me go prove to the team that did bet on me and the team that really showed that they really wanted me and committed to me, that I'm not going to let them down.
Wow, that was incredible.
That's zero.
Wow.
That's amazing.
There was so much to unpack there, honestly. There really was, because it's always interesting to me where athletes, especially the GOATs, where they find motivation from. And he found it like 4 different ways when he's talking about being inspired by the teams that passed him over, but also being inspired by the team that said, yes, go out there and play for us. And he wants to prove them right and prove everyone else wrong. And he just casually compared himself to Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, which is such a flex.
It is a flex.
It's a flex, and it's also facts.
Yeah.
It's also facts. Like, you talk about there's a club that you can now hang out at, the Champions Club. Well, there's also the 6-time Champions Club that they can hang out at.
And he's got some leftovers for that too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
he's about to go get
a
some
couple
more.
more, yeah.
And he's about to go find it. There's like the VIP room in the eight section of the club.
Exactly.
Right. And
Yeah.
like the GOAT Club. And so it's a very small and exclusive. It's not even velvet rope. Like, what's cooler than velvet ropes? Like diamond and platinum
Gold.
encrusted gold ropes.
But no, it's a club that you wouldn't even know exists. If you were driving down the street, you would think, what's that abandoned industrial warehouse? That weird
It's like where
burnt out
Costanza
building.
went with all the models. Like, it's that place.
And then it's called Wednesday Night for TJ. So there you go.
True that.
We've got an action-packed show. I want to talk more about the Tom Brady sound because I thought that was really great from TB12. So we'll get into that. We'll talk, obviously, of course, about all things San Diego Chargers. I still call them the San Diego Chargers. It still rolls off the tongue that way. Doesn't it feel naturally like the San Diego Chargers?
Sure
still?
does, man.
We'll
Sure
talk
does.
all things state of LA football with CBS LA's Jamie Maggio. We've got Adnan Virk from MLB checking in a little bit later on in the show. I know he had a cup of coffee with the WWE. There's a great podcast from Meadowlark Media, Cinephile. So we'll chat with Adnan. Plus, we got Matt Walsh. Very funny. Matt Walsh has a new movie with Eva Longoria, Unplugged. So we'll hang out with a diehard Bears fan, talk all things Justin Fields with Matt as well. We got a big show today. Coming up next, Andrea Nix, a filmmaker who did the film LFG about the women's soccer team of 2019, the fight for equal pay. We'll catch up with Andrea next. Big show here today. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich from The Rich Eisen Show.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Hey, basketball fans, get excited for the Tokyo Olympics with Peacock, the home for U.S. men's basketball. Every U.S. game is streaming live starting July 25th. To get started, go to peacocktv.com and sign up right now. Hey, basketball fans, if you're as excited for the Tokyo Olympics as I am, and we all are at The Rich Eisen Show, you're going to want to sign up for Peacock, the streaming service from NBC Universal. Peacock is the home for U.S. men's basketball with every Olympic game from the team streaming live. The excitement starts July 25th at 8 a.m. Eastern when the U.S. competes against France. Don't miss a minute of the action and go to peacocktv.com and sign up now. Hey, basketball fans, if you're as pumped for the Tokyo Olympics as we are, you're going to want to sign up for Peacock, the streaming service from NBC Universal. Peacock is the home for U.S. men's basketball with every Olympic game streaming live. Get excited by checking out a behind-the-scenes look at this all-star team with the Peacock original docuseries for Ball and Country. This 6-part series gives you courtside seats to the 2021 training camp in Las Vegas. Watch as Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and others fight for the team's 4th consecutive gold medal. Plus, take a stroll down memory lane with never-before-seen footage of former Olympic players from the iconic Dream Team and Redeem Team. The U.S. men's basketball Olympic competition starts July 25th at 8 a.m. Eastern with their first game against France. Don't miss a minute of the action and go to peacocktv.com to sign up right now. You met Prince, correct?
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
You know, I can't remember how we met initially, but after our first encounter, he made sure that I was at every house party that he had in Los Angeles. And if he knew that I was in town, like in New York, he made sure that I was at every show he performed at Madison Square Garden. I'll never forget, we were at Madison Square Garden. Security came to my seat at the end of the show, or towards the end of the show, and said, "Prince wants you to come on stage." I was like, "Okay." "He wants you to come on stage now." all right. So I'll go on stage. It's me, Whoopi Goldberg, Cornel West, Tavis Smiley, a bunch of other people on stage. And we went to this after-hour spot after the concert, a place called Village Underground in the Village.
Oh, it's famous.
Yeah, and so, because Prince likes to jam afterwards. Well, Prince just went to go listen to the musicians. And so it's Prince, his assistant, myself. And I see Prince lean over to his assistant. And then all of a sudden, the assistant leans over to me and says, I don't know why I do this voice, but it's like, Prince wants you to come back and have pasta and pizza. I was like, oh, okay. And then Prince got up and left, and she got up and left. I don't know why her voice is so deep, because it was a woman. She got up and she left.
But you were summoned.
Yes.
You were summoned by royalty.
And there was, an array of people in the living room, and I went back to find Prince, and he was back there holding court with Tavis Smiley and Cornel West, and he looked up and he was like, smiled and gave me the peace sign, and I went back in, and we had pasta and pizza at 4:00 in the morning.
Wow. How did Prince like his pizza? This is very important. The toppings. First off, it's a window into one's soul.
First off, there was no meat on the pizza, and I didn't see Prince eat any pizza. We would go to his house, man, for the house parties, and it'd be Stevie Wonder playing the piano, Malcolm Jamal Warner on bass, Rochelle Farrell singing lead, Harry Connick Jr. playing bongos. No, that was Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. I'm sorry. I get him confused sometimes. But it was just amazing, man. And then it's like 5:00 in the morning, his chef is serving you breakfast. You're like, why am I at Prince's house at 5:00 in the morning, man? It was truly an amazing relationship that not only myself but other people had with him.
I'm just glad that it was pizza and pasta. It wasn't like a game of telephone, like Prince asked you to do something and came back pizza and pasta through his assistant.
Anthony, Prince wants you to come back to the hotel and have pasta and pizza. That's how it came to me.
Welcome back to the show. Show rolls on. Ben Lyons in for Rich. This is the Rich Eisen Show. You can hit us up 844-204-RICH on social media, of course, at Rich Eisen Show, at I am Ben Lyons. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, we're going to go through all the NBA free agents, and I'm going to talk to the peanut gallery here about where they want to see them play, just as fans. Not to do the trade meter, not to be capologists, but just as fans, where would you like to see some of those high-profile free agents in the NBA play next season?
Stop it.
I mean,
the recruiting, I think that's tampering. The recruiting's already begun.
Is it? Okay, but just stop.
Yeah. But I don't know if you guys know this, and I was talking to Del Tufo a little bit about this, but soccer's been a big deal in my life since I was a kid. Yeah. I was very fortunate to grow up with my grandfather, the legend Frank Sarge Crocker, as a member of the United States Soccer Hall of Fame. We always used to joke growing up in my family, what's more amazing, that it actually exists or that he's in it. But I was a young kid when it was up at Oneonta, New York, and we went and saw his plaque. And he was a great inspiration to me and a big reason why I fell in love with the game of soccer. If you remember in The Last Dance, in the beginning of the film, they talk about how before Jordan got to the Bulls, in the 80s in Chicago, there was the Chicago Sting, and they would outdraw the Bulls before Jordan got there. Well, my grandfather was the equipment manager for the Chicago Sting. They were an outdoor team, then they played indoor at the Rosemont Horizon. They changed to become the Chicago Power. It was almost like hockey line changes. It was so fast, the action. But I just loved soccer, these characters of the game, Karl-Heinz Granitska, Pato Marhetic. And something that my grandfather really instilled in me at a young age. And again, this is the mid-'90s when soccer's not in vogue like it is here in the United States now. There's no MLS. The women's national team wasn't the thing yet. Yep. He instilled in me this appreciation for the women's game. He called it the beautiful game, just the flow, the pace, the spacing, the skill. And he really put me on to Team USA long before the women in '99. And so then when he passed away in '99, and that summer, the entire world was just enamored by Mia Hamm and Brandi Chastain, Julie Foudy. I was bedridden. I had screws put in my ankle that summer. I had a bone cartilage separation. And so I was bedridden, and I watched every single game of that World Cup. That women's team from '99 holds such a special place in my heart. They say when someone transitions from this life to the afterlife, there's that portal, that window where you can still communicate with them. You can feel their presence. I felt my grandfather's presence through watching that team in '99. Del Tufo, you worked that game, the final game. You worked that.
Yeah.
One of the great sporting events of our lifetime.
And then I've got to do like 2 or 3 of the World Cups after that. And it's I was amazing. One of the greatest moments of my life.
And now Team USA, they've gone on to win multiple World Cups, multiple gold medals. You've seen stars like Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe just explode on the scene. They become household names. And there's a great new documentary film that documents the 2019 team 20 years later as they fight for equal pay. They fight to win a World Cup on the greatest stage with so many people coming at them, so much adversity, so many distractions they're able to overcome. And there's this great new film directed by Andrea Nix, and we are really excited to be able to have her joining us here today alongside Sean Fine, who directed the film as well. But we're on with Andrea right now. Appreciate you taking the time. Talk to me about your love of soccer, your connection to the game, and where this documentary, LFG, sort of began its journey.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on. And actually, Oneonta's not that far from where I grew up. I'm from Rochester, so my love of the game came from really just playing the sport. I started playing when I was little. It's the only sport I ever played. I just loved it, and I'm the same age as Julie Foudy, more or less. So watching those women take the field and do what they did, and like watching that game was kind of like transformational. I wasn't there in person, unfortunately, but you know, I just always followed it. So I thought I kind of knew a lot about it. But when the lawsuit dropped, we, you know, looked up and so these are the best women soccer players in the world, and this is what they're going through. Why are they? I didn't really know too much about anything to do with their equal pay fight. And once we started, Sean, my husband and fellow director on this, once we started looking into this, it just felt so incredible that, look, there's a lot here that people don't know about, that we didn't even know about, and it just felt like a, you know, David versus Goliath kind of effort, even though they are the best at what they do in the game for women. And so it just felt like a natural thing. This was the right moment. I felt like people's ears are to the ground in a different way about equality. We felt like the rest of the world should know about it. And they're also amazing athletes and amazing personalities, so it kind of has all the boxes to check about, like, why is this a great story? And it's really fun to film women playing some badass soccer, which is really what they're also all about. So that was just, all those things just drew me into this, to want to make this film.
Andrea Nix Fine joins the show, the director of the new documentary LFG, story of the 2019 women's national soccer team and their fight for equal pay as they compete for a World Cup. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to hang out with Megan Rapinoe.
It's kind of like, there's a song that's actually plays during the documentary where we're sort of giving a little background on her, and it's like Wizzy Wiggy, what you see is what you get, which is exactly, she comes across exactly like you see her. She's very much like, you know, she's kind of unflappable. She's really funny. She's like just a cool person. She just has this essence of cool, and she's fiercely intelligent and very articulate. So that was also interesting to not just see her on the field, but then have her walk onto some pretty, like, Meet the Press and Rachel Maddow and, like, you know, really just intense interviewers who really, like, she can, like, dish it politically. She can dish it on the field. She's kind of a Renaissance woman in that way. And she's a lot of fun. She's funny, and I think has a lot of respect from her teammates, and she just is able to articulate. That's one of the reasons we wanted her in the film. She's able to articulate so quickly on behalf of the women, but also in some ways not speak for them, and she speaks for herself, but she sort of also is the face of this movement for them. So she's great, and I think it was very important when we asked her to be in the film. She said, look, I'm in, but I'm not going to speak for everybody else. You have to ask people as individuals. So that's what we started to do.
Well, that's what's so incredible about this team in particular. There's such a collection of personalities and incredible life journeys. They won the World Cup in 2019. I remember about a month or two later, they were going on a tour of exhibition games, and they played here in Southern California at the Rose Bowl, where they, of course, you know, team won 20 years before. So I went to the friendly. I was living in Pasadena at the time, and that morning in my local juice spot, I saw Sam Mewis. I saw Jessica McDonald, and I lost it. Like, I got really emotional. I made everyone working in the juice bar give them a standing ovation. Like, it was. I was so starstruck by them, and I'm glad you mentioned Megan's thought process of this can't be about me. She gets so much of the spotlight. Talk to me about some of the other stars on this team who audiences now are going to watch in the Olympics and who are really kind of making Team USA their own.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right. Like, I think when you do see Jessica walk in a room and you do see Sam walk in the room, like, you notice, right? Like, first off, they're just like, they're powerful-looking people. They're powerful players. And the chemistry of who told the story for us, because we don't have narrators or anything. Our style of documentary filmmaking is we really want the characters to tell their own story. And so you really feel like it's theirs, it comes from them. And we want it to be the right collective idea. So we had Megan, which, as we talked about already, is the sort of a natural choice, is the face of sort of this fight. But we wanted to show the every player, the player that basically toils in the professional league ranks with the hope of one day, maybe just, like if your dream comes true, to get pulled up to the Nationals. And she's a single mom. She is an incredible fighter and was so excited. But this lawsuit dropped literally just as she got on the national team. So that's kind of intense for her to be swept into something like this after all this time. So we also wanted to show the balance of hey, they've been fighting this lawsuit, and we wanted to show how much work that they put into this. This has been going on for them for decades, even before they dropped it, of their prior team. So Becky Sauerbrunn is an incredible, just an incredible individual. She's a really quiet leader for the team. You have to kind of know the team to understand how much respect she has amongst their ranks, and she has been working on the lawsuit, the CBAs, for years. Kelly O'Hara, same thing. And collectively, they always bring on a new player to sort of, hand the baton to, which is kind of great to make sure that they understand what the team mentality is about the equal pay lawsuit, about how it's like a sisterhood, that they pass it on. And so they want to have a younger player understand what it is to negotiate for their worth across the table from the Federation. So they want to make sure that they kind of baptize and bring into the fold someone like Sam Mewis, who's a rising star. And that's kind of a really interesting way that they handle all the choices that they're making, is that they do it collectively. They have they have 7 players who really work really hard on the lawsuit. And so I think what's really interesting is you see how articulate and how well versed they are in the law, from Becky and Kristen Press and Kelly O'Hara. I mean, I think actually someone like Kristen Press could become a lawyer at the end of all this.
Ben Lyons filling in for Rich on The Rich Eisen Show, joined right now by Andrea Nix Fine, one half of the directing team behind LFG, the new documentary celebrating the women's soccer team of the United States in 2019 that fought for equal pay. So what's the status of the team right now with USA Soccer as they go over to Japan? They had a tough start to kick off this Olympics, losing, which is not something they normally do, to Sweden 3-0 the other day. What's the status of the team right now in terms of their working relationship with their employer?
Well, I think like anything with a lawsuit, you can settle at any time, right? So what happened at the end is that the judge sort of split the lawsuit in half, and they settled on the working conditions, but the equal pay lawsuit side of things continues. And they're still fighting it in an appeals process, and according to them, they're going to go to the very end of wherever it takes. They believe in it so, and that they, could they sit down at the table at any time? Yeah, they can. But history says that's complicated for both sides, and I think both sides would really love to come to some kind of conclusion about it. I think we would love to have been able to show that in the film, because I think it shows possibility on all fronts, not just in the soccer world, of how you kind of compromise and get where you're going, but still, these women want to continue this until the very end, and I believe in them. I think you can see through the film that they kind of give jet fuel to this whole idea for a lot of women across the world, not just female athletes, but women all over. So they carry that fight on their back. So I think it's hard. It's like going to work every day in an active lawsuit with your boss, but you're working right next to him, and you need their support for you as a player, right? But so they have, and the Federation needs the players. So as they say, we're the only game in town for each other. So I hope it ends well for both of them, honestly.
The new film is LFG, all about the women's soccer team, but you worked over the years with athletes like Lindsey Vonn, and I'm just curious, as a filmmaker and a sports fan, when you watch games, when you watch the Olympics, Are you looking for stories to tell? What is it that draws you as a filmmaker to the world of sports?
It's interesting. I think sports is tricky because, we do lots of other stories besides sports. So the thing is, it's got to be a great story, and all great stories start with great characters. So that's really where you start. You start with someone who is in the midst of something transformational, has the ability to come across emotionally and kind of bring you into their journey. And that's the exact same case we have with these women on this story. So I think you're always looking for somebody whose journey is going to take you inside of something amazing, and that they're able to sort of share their perspective and have it be relatable to someone, like circumstances that, let's say, when you watch this film, you don't know anything about soccer or you don't know anything about the law. We welcome you in because I think as an audience you'll come out better versed but really feel like emotionally moved. Like I think cinema is an emotional ride ultimately. So that's really what we look for, and that's one of the reasons we felt like these women were the perfect, subjects to go through this journey with.
It's a great documentary. It's a great way to honor what these women have to overcome in order to just fulfill their dreams as professional soccer players. And I was really inspired by it, as I was by the 99 team way back when. So I appreciate you taking some time, Andrea. Best of luck.
No, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. I enjoyed speaking with you.
The film is LFG, available now. I think about the women's soccer team. They're the best team we have in the United States in any sport. They're the most dominant. They're the best national team we have. I think they're the best team in the world. And watch them losing to kick off the Olympics is a huge deal.
Huge deal.
Because we didn't even know the Olympics really started. And they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, Team USA lost. You're like, what? Wait,
and didn't just lose. I mean, 3-0 in soccer is kind of a rout.
Soccer, it's a 3-0, I think it is. I think it's 0 in soccer.
No, they didn't score. That's nothing.
Yeah, they didn't score, and now they got their work cut out for them. But the film's tremendous. LFG, Andrea, of course, an Oscar winner for her work in the documentary space. So, yeah, people should definitely check it out if you want to learn more about what Rapinoe and Rose Lavelle and Kristen Press and all these incredible women had to overcome a few summers ago now. The world changed a lot since 2019. It feels like a lifetime ago. A little historical context, too, adds to the impact of the film. It's called LFG, and it's available now. Del Tufo, you were at that 99 game.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I've done a couple of their games. I actually did a game right before they left to go to the Olympics. So I'm sound mixing. So it's like that was one of the moments that you kind of go, it was pretty cool. Because I was right in the corner. You got to see the PK, everything that went on. It was insane to be in that place.
And now you go out to the Rose Bowl, and they have a Brandi Chastain statue. They immortalized that moment when she scored the penalty kick, and her teammates rushed her. And it was, there's me and my father-in-law. Yeah, shout out to Dave Perkins. Paying our respects at the Brandi Chastain statue there. I would go down there often for inspiration and go on runs and stuff and just talk to the women of 99 because one of the great teams of my lifetime as a sports fan.
It's in the top 5, I always say, like moments in sports of the last 50 years.
I mean, it's one of the greatest Sports Illustrated covers of all time.
It's a culmination of a women's rights movement, just women's sports getting in the international conversation, the game itself, the team, the stars. It was just, the stars aligned when that happens in sports.
It was amazing.
It's truly iconic.
Also, the amount of times that's been duplicated and replicated. Like I was watching a game, I can't remember what team it was. A guy scored a goal, ripped off his shirt. He had a little mini sports tank top on, and that's definitely obviously a nod to Brandi Chastain. I mean,
of course, and she'll tell you it wasn't a planned moment; it was spontaneous. But Nike had just released that product, so the sales went through the roof.
I don't know if I buy that
on the campus in Beaverton. You don't buy
I don't know if it wasn't planned.
Come on, it wasn't planned. The game's going to come down to penalty kicks. She's going to get the last kick and score. What are you talking about? That's
obviously that
play right there.
That's not planned, but I mean, she kind of knew you had the Nike thing on. I don't know.
All right, coming up next, we're going to get into the aftermath of the dominance of Giannis and how now that it's Giannis's league, how that's going to shake out for some of the other star players around the association. We'll see if Bobby Portis has a deer head on his head somewhere in Milwaukee as the Bucks are celebrating. It's the Rich Eisen Show. We roll on.
Let's start this. Let's get this. So this is a little early. I don't do lunch martinis.
So you're pouring a martini now into the martini shaker.
I poured just a little in. It looked like there may have been The ice
some
may
ice
have
in
been
there.
set, but you won't complain. Don't,
No, I'm not.
don't
I'm not at
send
all.
the drink back.
We just need to. The olives are already in the glasses.
Don't bruise it. Don't bruise it. Some people at home, what about stirring? There's a great bar called the Edmund over on Melrose. They like to stir. I like that. I like to shake a little bit.
So, are you more like Bond, shaken, not stirred, or you're?
I prefer actually bruising the vodka, making it ice cold.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
These are vermouth washed glasses. We had put a little vermouth in there earlier.
Okay.
And then
Pouring it out.
Why don't you
I'll take that one.
This is my friend Rich Eisen. Are we toasting? I just want to toast you. Seeing you again, you want to toast the ESPN, correct?
Well, we are toasting to ESPN's 40th anniversary. There's a big event going on this weekend. My invitation is probably where yours is right now.
Yeah.
So we just figured, why not just do it ourselves?
What a nice thought.
You know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen you in a very long time.
My arm's getting sore.
I know. Because I like to toast. I haven't seen you in a long time, Craig, and I've been cultivating this caper to try and get you to come on this show. And
You're the only guy. What if I only do your show? I'd love to just do that because I like you're smooth and natural. Did I compliment you? I like Rich.
There you go.
I like Rich.
Okay.
Let me just see what this is because the water, the ice was sitting there.
Cheers to you.
Nice to see you.
Cheers to you.
Nice to
see you.
finally meet you.
Cheers.
It's watered down. Don't say anything. It's watered down.
That's
because the ice was sitting there. But let's pretend it's not. This is what I say at a bar or a restaurant, the Big Four up in San Francisco and Nob Hill. I take a sip. I go like this. I go, this is the greatest moment of my life. I enjoy the moment. This is now the greatest moment of my life when I take a sip of a beautiful chilled vodka. I need fresh ice, and we're going to do it again off the air.
But the vodka does taste appropriately bruised.
By the way,
and it was made with love.
Yeah,
I felt
when I poured the vodka in there, I saw that it went up to. I knew there was water in there from the ice melting, but that's okay. I don't want to. I'm not complaining, but we didn't have to say anything, and I was the one who said it because I thought you might.
It is just the most special moment in my life, right?
Try this again.
Try it one more time. Here we go. Were you choosing again or no?
I was just going to sip again. This mic is in my way.
Okay, here we go.
It's hard to drink. It's hard to drink with a mic in your. No,
okay, here we go. Craig Kilborn here on the Rich Eisen Show.
And a little Jobim, add a little music.
Very good.
Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Ben Lyons hanging out for Rich. It's been such a fun week being here with you guys, spending some time talking sports, the NBA Finals. Now we got Brandon Jennings in the back of a pickup truck shotgunning beers in Milwaukee. This is happening, guys.
It's amazing. Sports parades I think are the coolest things ever. It's just like the culmination of the season. A lot of these fans probably didn't think they were going to be at this moment or their team would win the championship. Maybe delusional ones like TJ, but it's just so cool. Double-decker buses and in Boston, like duck boats in Boston. It's just the coolest thing ever.
You get great speeches. You get Mark Madsen.
Everyone's hammered.
Dancing,
Gronk is shotgunning beers and spiking them. And
Canyon of Heroes, New York.
Yeah, well, you guys haven't had a parade.
It doesn't matter.
Well, that was an annual thing.
There he is.
Well, hold on. That was an annual thing for me in high school. Was how do you cut class to go to the Yankee parade?
Exactly.
Not really a Yankee fan, but always it was.
Go.
Oh, I can't go to science class today. Next thing you know, you're down in the Bowery. Some guy from the Bronx.
It is pretty cool to be at one of those.
I remember fondly the Yankee parades. I'm thinking about this Milwaukee team. We weren't giving them their props the other day for being a great party team. We were just looking at them as family guys. Maybe they'll go home, turn on Luca or something, or just hang out with the kids.
You guys really weren't giving them enough respect.
I wasn't. I didn't think they had it in
was
them.
trying to look up flights from Milwaukee to Vegas.
Brockman thought they'd leave Milwaukee to fly to Vegas while they were already at home.
The only one that we thought was going to get it in was Dante
DiVincenzo, definitely.
Who didn't even play in the finals.
He has got the last 48 hours of DiVincenzo's life has just been Mike, Cinemax after dark.
So they're getting after it in Milwaukee today.
Like my normal life.
You were talking about which team you would like to celebrate with historically, and you were going old school.
I think when you think about it over the course of time, historically, the crazy party teams when you think of 86 Mets, I think immediately comes to mind. With Doc and Straw.
That just seems terrifying. Like I don't know if I could hang. Like
I definitely
couldn't make it.
I definitely
to the,
don't think I could
couldn't
hang.
make it to the end of the
But
night.
I'm willing to try.
But like historically, like did any two guys have a better time running through an iconic city than Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford? Like I just don't think, like, if you think 50s and early 60s New York, Joe DiMaggio is out. It's now their team. It's like obviously no social media. Nightlife was just cigars and the amount of whiskey and brandy those guys probably drank.
Oh, yeah.
It's just probably the greatest time. And then they would wake up and the Mick would hit 2 dingers and Whitey would throw 8 strong with 11 Ks. It's probably the greatest time of their life.
I feel like you said that was a great run for them. Probably not centered, though, around a specific World Series. I don't feel like World Series celebration night was any different than Tuesday night in August.
I was just going to say.
Absolutely. And it went on for a long time. But they played in the World Series every year, so it was just like, oh, we're doing this again.
Sadly, it's also what ended Mickey's life at
Yes.
far too young.
Yeah,
I think
Mickey
he
died
was
at, like,
63 when
yeah.
he passed away.
Right.
And
It was a great time while they were doing it.
Had a lot of fun, though.
Had a lot of fun while it was happening.
You think of the 86 Mets, like I said, that team was probably terrifying. Another New York team would have been fun to party with. Those all the Walt Frazier teams. Imagine the Rolls-Royce backcourt of Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe out on the town. Dave DeBusschere. That'd be a fun time.
Just going to the nightclubs in New York, Mike, in the
please.
70s. Oh, my. And, like, the outfits those guys would wear.
Late
like,
60s, early
and the
70s,
fur
pounding
coats.
around
Like,
with
what
that.
about Joe Namath?
Yeah, you got Jerry Lucas doing memory tricks in the bar on everybody. He's like,
You guys are
that's
missing a big one on the Giants.
Oh, LT.
LT.
Come on.
I mean, I worked at his sports bar a couple times.
Going out with Mark Bavaro, letting it
LT's.
rip.
I mean, LT probably crisscrossed with Doc and Straw back then.
Yeah, there's a good chance
You
that
know what I
happened. In 86?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Then you got to think, too, the Showtime parties.
Well,
I mean,
I have something to say. I'm going to wait till the break.
safe to say, I would have hung out with the USC Trojans in the early 2000s, and it's just as much fun.
Hey, by the way,
Reggie Bush teams and Matt Leinart teams.
I'll take those teams any day of the week.
As someone who did hang out with some of those guys, that was fun.
They were like they would walk into a bar in Santa Monica, no joke, and they were like, Michael Jordan just walked in. It was unbelievable. And TJ, you were with him,
I was there a few times.
No, that's why I asked you. I said, "Do you have any Keith Rivers encounters from your last of the Mohican days running around?"
Like I said, I didn't really know
you were
Keith
Rivers adjacent.
I didn't really know Keith, but I was friends with Matt. So, and Leinart was the king of Los Angeles for a time. So it was always interesting to kind of see how he
interesting
was
to me
received.
the idea of being a college football star in a big time sports city.
Yeah.
All these other guys, they're playing in Tuscaloosa, they're playing in Madison, they're playing in College Station, and that's amazing to be the big guy on campus down there. But to be the quarterback at USC,
you're like,
when they got it rolling.
Oh yeah.
Like when he walked into a bar and there was every musician, actor, actress, and yet this cat who's still in college walks in and it's just like, yo,
everyone stops.
It's like, Jay-Z's over there. And, by the way, Matt Leinart's right over there. He's bigger than Jay-Z at that point.
Now with these kids with their name, image, and likeness, can you imagine what Matt Leinart would have done back at USC?
We talked about that a few weeks ago. If Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart could have cashed in on that, oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
Well, that was kind of the conversation at the time, like what college star would have made the most money under today's NIL.
Well, I just saw that deal that Mikey Williams, who's a high school basketball star, he's not even in college, just signed with Excel Sports, and he's going to be making millions before he even either goes to the NBA or goes to college.
Well, that was kind of the big quote that came out of SEC Media Day by Nick Saban. He's said that Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, has already signed upwards of $1 million in NILs already.
That's insane.
Insane. It's obviously awesome for these kids.
Sure.
It's insane to think about.
It's insane to think about.
Yeah.
I wanted to go around the association quickly. Ben Lyons in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. We got Jamie Maggio from CBS LA going to talk about the LA Chargers in about 10 minutes or so. But I kind of want to throw out just some big NBA free agents because now that the Bucks have won the title, there's going to be a ripple effect as teams try to regroup and strategize and come up with a way to knock Giannis off the top of the mountain. It's going to be tough to do. But I just want to throw a couple names out there to you guys as basketball fans. Where do you want to see them play next year? Where would you like to see DeMar DeRozan play next year. He's a free agent.
Ooh, DeMar DeRozan. Is it finally time for DeMar to come home to Los Angeles and join
Kawhi?
I'd like to see him with the Lakers. I think he's that scorer that they need. Somebody to create their own shot opposite LeBron and AD.
I don't want the Lakers to get better. In
Yeah,
any
for
sense,
sure.
but like for DeMar DeRozan, I think it would be the perfect spot for him. And it's the perfect LeBron James teammate. We were talking about this pre-show too. Like the type of player that needs to play with LeBron James is the shooter and the guy that can kind of create his own shot and give 23. Or is he switching to 6 next year? What
He
number is
switching to
LeBron?
6. I think he's just doing that so the jersey sales go up and he has a top 5 jersey sales again. It's just a way to keep that, I don't know.
I mean, obviously genius.
Calculated authenticity.
Yes, exactly. So, but it's the type of player that 6 needs to kind of give him a blow as he gets older in age. But
DeMar DeRozan to the Lakers, I kind of like that. DeMar DeRozan, to me, is like the Nomar Garciaparra of the NBA because Nomar was right there with the Red Sox, but didn't get that ring in 2004. DeMar, right there with the Raptors, didn't get that ring in 2019. There are a couple guys historically who have been part of the movement. I didn't get a ring, like Mike Dunleavy was part of the resurgence in Golden State. They didn't, the We Believe Warriors, they sent him a packing at the trading deadline. Wasn't there for the Karolinko dunk, the Baron Davis dunk. Kawhi Leonard, does he stay in Los Angeles?
TJ, take it away.
Come on. He stays.
You think he stays?
He stays.
You want him to stay?
Of course.
Forget just where you think he'll stay. Like where you think
mean,
he'll go. Do you want
I want
the
him to
narrative for Kawhi, or would you like to see him go down to Dallas with Luka and Porzingis?
Oh, why would I want that?
Ooh.
No, I think the whole point, and you mentioned this earlier, Brockman, he wanted to come back home. He's essentially home. He's number one on the call sheet, as they say in movies.
You got to make your bed and sleep in it.
Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. Why would?
How about Chris Paul? Where do you want to see Chris Paul go?
Yeah, they were talking about this on First Take today. It was like Chris Paul a fit